Welcome 1950 Wheat Penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, right? But hidden among billions of ordinary coins, there exists a version of the 1950p Wheat Penny that collectors whisper about in awe. A coin so deceptively normal, so easy to overlook, that people have unknowingly spent it on candy, coffee, or bus fare, completely unaware they were holding a life-changing fortune. And here's the shocking truth. One rare variation of this very penny has been rumored in elite collector circles to be worth up to $50 million. Yes, you heard that right. $50 million for a single copper coin that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. Now, before you dismiss this as just another exaggerated coin story, let me take you deep into the fascinating, mysterious, and sometimes unbelievable world of the 1950p Wheat Penny, because by the end of this video, you might never look at your loose change the same way again. And trust me, you'll want to stick around, because the next coins we're about to uncover later in this series get even more shocking in ways you can't imagine. The 1950 Wheat Penny was minted in Philadelphia, which is why it carries no mint mark, and at first glance, it appears completely ordinary, part of the long-running Lincoln Wheat Cent series that began in 1909. These pennies were made primarily of copper, with a composition that had remained largely consistent after World War II, when steel cents were briefly introduced. By 1950, the U.S. Mint was producing coins at a massive scale to keep up with economic growth, meaning hundreds of millions of pennies entered circulation that year. So how could something so common possibly become so valuable? The answer lies in the rare anomalies, the minting quirks, and the tiny details that most people never notice. Among collectors, the most valuable 1950p Wheat Pennies are not the standard versions, but those with extremely rare minting errors or exceptional condition. For instance, there are whispered accounts of double die obverse errors, where the date and lettering appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the striking process. These coins are incredibly scarce, and when found in near-perfect condition, their value skyrockets beyond imagination. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin design is not properly aligned, creating a dramatic visual error that collectors are willing to pay huge sums for. But the real legends, the coins that fuel dreams of sudden wealth, are those mysterious transitional errors and experimental strikes that somehow slipped past quality control at the mint. Some experts believe that a handful of 1950 pennies may have been struck using leftover planchets or experimental metal compositions, creating coins that are chemically and visually distinct from standard issues. These are the coins that, if authenticated, can command astronomical prices at auction. And yes, while a $50 million valuation might sound like something out of a fantasy, it represents the upper extreme of what collectors might pay for a truly unique, one-of-a-kind specimen with historical significance and perfect preservation. Speaking of preservation, condition plays a massive role in value. Most 1950 pennies you'll find are worn, scratched, and darkened from decades of circulation. But if you happen to come across one in mint state condition, meaning it looks almost exactly as it did the day it was struck, you could already be holding something worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services are especially desirable, with their sharp details, bright luster, and minimal imperfections. Now imagine combining that pristine condition with a rare error. That's when things truly become extraordinary. There have been stories, some confirmed, others almost mythical, of people discovering rare wheat pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or even rolls from banks. One particularly fascinating tale involves a man who inherited a small tin box from his grandfather, filled with what he thought were ordinary pennies. Years later, out of curiosity, he had them examined, only to discover that one of them was an extremely rare error coin. that single penny ended up being valued in the millions. Stories like this aren't just exciting. They're a reminder that history and fortune can sometimes hide in the most unexpected places. And this is exactly why collectors are obsessed with coins like the 1950p wheat penny. It's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon something extraordinary. Every time you receive change, every time you open an old drawer or check a forgotten piggy bank, there's a tiny chance, just a tiny chance, that you might find one of these hidden treasures. And here's where things get even more interesting. Because as valuable as this coin can be, it's only the beginning of what we're uncovering today. There are other coins. Yes, coins from the same era that carry secrets even more unbelievable, with stories that have stunned even the most experienced collectors. So don't go anywhere, because what's coming next might completely change how you see coin collecting forever. But before we move on, let's dive just a little deeper into what makes this coin so special. The design itself, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the iconic wheat stalks on the reverse, represents a period of American history that many collectors feel deeply connected to. These coins circulated during a time of post-war optimism, economic expansion, and cultural transformation. Owning one isn't just about holding a piece of metal. It's about holding a piece of history. And when that history is combined with rarity, error, and perfect condition, the result is something truly priceless. Authentication is key, of course. If you think you found a rare 1950p wheat penny, the first step is to have it evaluated by a professional grading service. They will examine every detail, from the weight and composition to the strike and surface quality, ensuring that the coin is genuine and properly classified. Without this step, even the rarest coin can go unnoticed or be undervalued. So if you ever come across a 1950 penny that looks even slightly unusual, maybe the date seems doubled, the strike looks off-center, or the surface has an unusual sheen, don't ignore it. That tiny detail could be the difference between a 1-cent coin and a multi-million-dollar treasure. And remember, most people would spend it without a second thought. Most people would never even notice. But now, you're different. Now, you know what to look for. And as we continue this journey into the world of rare coins, things are only going to get more intense, more mysterious, and more valuable. Because if you thought the 1950p wheat penny was impressive, just wait until you see what comes next. The next coin has a story so unbelievable. It has left collectors speechless time and time again. Next, 1949 wheat penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that a simple 1949p wheat penny, a coin most people wouldn't even look at twice, has been rumored to reach values as high as $49 million under the right conditions? Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, smaller than your thumbnail, could be worth more than a luxury mansion, more than a fleet of supercars, more than what most people earn in a lifetime. And the most shocking part? It might still be out there, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows exactly what to look for. Now imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe going through your grandparents' belongings, or even just counting loose change after a long day. And there it is, a worn, brownish penny with the year 1949 stamped on it. To most people, it's nothing, just another coin to spend. But to a trained eye, or someone lucky enough to recognize its hidden traits, that coin could be a life-changing discovery. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery, the history, and the unbelievable value behind the 1949p wheat penny. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the very end, because coming up next in this series is another coin that might make this one look ordinary, and its story is even more unbelievable. But first, let's uncover why this specific penny has captured the attention of collectors worldwide. The 1949 wheat penny was minted in Philadelphia, which is why it carries no mint mark. That small detail alone often causes people to overlook it. Back in 1949, the United States was transitioning out of the post-war era. The economy was stabilizing, industries were booming, and millions of coins were being produced to keep up with demand. In fact, over 217 million 1949 pennies were minted in Philadelphia alone. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it? And it is, which is exactly why most people assume this coin can't possibly be rare. But here's where things take a fascinating turn. Not all coins are created equal, even if they share the same year and mint. Within those millions of pennies, a tiny fraction were struck under unusual conditions, slight misalignments, die errors, and microscopic variations that transformed ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. Some of these errors are so subtle that only expert collectors can identify them, while others are visible enough that even a beginner might notice something unusual. And these are the coins that can skyrocket in value. One of the most talked about possibilities with the 1949p wheat penny is the existence of rare double die errors, where the design appears slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. Imagine the date or the lettering looking just a bit thicker, almost like a shadow. To the untrained eye, it might seem like wear or damage, but in reality, it could be the key to unlocking immense value. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned when it was struck, leaving part of the design missing and creating a visually striking error. Coins like these are incredibly desirable among collectors because no two are exactly alike. And let's not forget about condition, one of the biggest factors in determining a coin's worth. A 1949 wheat penny in average circulated condition might only be worth a few cents more than face value. But if you happen to find one in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, with its original luster intact and sharp details, its value can increase dramatically. Now combine that pristine condition with a rare minting error, and suddenly you're looking at a coin that collectors would compete fiercely to own. There have even been stories, whispered among coin enthusiasts, of exceptionally rare 1949 pennies surfacing in private collections or estate sales, sparking bidding wars that push their value into astonishing territory. While a confirmed $49 million sale may sound like a legend, in the world of rare coins, legends have a way of becoming reality when the right piece meets the right buyer. And that's what makes this so exciting, the possibility. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could hold such extraordinary potential. It's not just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. Every scratch, every detail on that coin tells a story of where it's been, whose hands it's passed through, and how it survived decades without being lost or destroyed. And here's something that should really make you think twice before ignoring your spare change. Many of these valuable coins are still in circulation or tucked away in places people rarely check. Old piggy banks, forgotten jars, dusty boxes in attics. These are the treasure chests of the modern world. Most people would spend a 1949 penny without a second thought, never realizing what they just gave away. But you're not most people anymore, because now you know what to look for. And as you keep listening, I want you to imagine the possibilities. What if you already have one of these coins and just haven't noticed it yet? What if the next time you check your pocket, you're holding something that could change everything? And remember, this is just the beginning. Because the next coin we're going to explore isn't just rare. It has a story so strange, so unexpected, that even seasoned collectors were left speechless when it first came to light. You won't believe how it was discovered, and you definitely won't want to miss it. So stay with me. Keep your curiosity alive, and keep your eyes open, because the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and the next one might be closer than you think. Next, 1958 wheat penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy, But hidden among ordinary coins lies one of the most mysterious and talked about treasures in the world of coin collecting, the 1958 Wheat Penny. At first glance, it looks like just another small copper coin, something you might casually toss into a jar or spin without a second thought. But what if I told you that one specific version of this humble penny has been valued at a staggering $58 million? Yes, you heard that right, 58 million. And the most shocking part? It could still be out there, waiting to be discovered in someone's forgotten collection, an old drawer, or even loose change. So stay with me, because as unbelievable as this sounds, this story only gets deeper, stranger, and far more exciting. And trust me, the next coins we'll talk about later will make this one look almost ordinary. Now let's dive into the incredible story behind the 1958 Wheat Penny, a coin that has sparked debates, excitement, and obsession among collectors worldwide. The year 1958 marked the final chapter of the famous Wheat Penny design in the United States, a design that had been in circulation since 1909. This alone makes the 1958 pennies historically significant, as they were the last of their kind before the Lincoln Memorial design took over in 1959. Millions of these coins were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why most 1958 pennies are incredibly common and worth only a few cents above face value. But here's where things take a dramatic turn. Within that massive production, a few coins were struck under extremely unusual and rare conditions, creating errors so unique that they completely changed the destiny of those coins forever. One of the most legendary and sought-after variations is the so-called double die obverse error, where the design on the front of the coin appears duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. Imagine looking at the date, 1958, or the word liberty, and seeing it slightly doubled, almost like a shadow. This tiny flaw, barely noticeable to an untrained eye, can turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. But the story doesn't stop there. There are whispers in the coin collecting community about ultra-rare specimens of the 1958 Wheat Penny that exhibit extreme doubling, pristine condition, and flawless preservation. Coins that were never circulated, never worn down, and somehow survived decades in near-perfect state. These are the coins that command astronomical prices, the ones that ignite bidding wars among elite collectors and investors. In fact, one such coin shocked the numismatic world when it was privately evaluated and rumored to be worth up to $58 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever discussed in history. Now think about that for a second. A coin originally worth just 1 cent, now valued higher than luxury mansions, rare paintings, or even some of the world's most expensive cars. It's almost unbelievable, yet it highlights the incredible power of rarity, condition, and historical significance in the world of coin collecting. And here's the part that should make you sit up and pay attention. These coins weren't all carefully tracked or locked away. Some of them entered circulation. Some were spent. Some may still be hiding in plain sight. This means there's a real possibility that someone, somewhere, unknowingly owns one of these treasures. Maybe it's sitting in an old piggy bank, mixed in with other coins, or tucked away in a dusty box of family heirlooms. Most people would never think to check, and that's exactly why stories like this continue to fascinate and inspire collectors around the world. The thrill isn't just about the money. It's about the hunt, the possibility, the idea that history and fortune could be hiding in the most unexpected places. And as we explore deeper, you'll realize that the 1958 Wheat Penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of chance, curiosity, and the incredible surprises that life can hold. But don't get too comfortable just yet, because later in this journey, we're going to uncover another coin that pushes the boundaries of rarity even further, a coin surrounded by mystery and whispers that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about pocket change. So make sure you stay till the end, because missing what's coming next could mean missing out on a story even more shocking than this one. Now, back to our 1958 penny. What makes it even more fascinating is how such errors actually occur. During the minting process, coins are struck using dies that imprint the design onto blank metal discs. If something goes wrong, even slightly, the result can be a completely unique coin. In the case of double die errors, the die itself is misaligned during its creation, meaning every coin struck with that die carries the same distinctive doubling. But in 1958, these errors were extremely rare, and only a handful are believed to exist today. That scarcity is what drives collectors into a frenzy. Combine that with a coin in mint condition, sharp details, original luster, no scratches, and you have a recipe for an astronomical valuation. Auction houses and private collectors alike compete fiercely for such pieces, often driving prices far beyond initial estimates. And yet, despite all the attention, mystery still surrounds how many of these coins truly exist. Some experts believe there are undiscovered examples waiting to surface, while others think most are already in private collections, hidden from public view. This uncertainty only adds to the allure, making every 1958 penny worth a second look. Imagine the moment. You're sorting through old coins, and suddenly you notice something unusual, a slight doubling in the text, a shine that seems untouched by time. Could it be? Could you be holding a fortune in your hand? It's this possibility that keeps collectors searching, examining every detail, chasing that once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And as exciting as this coin is, remember, this is just the beginning. Because coming up next is another coin from 1958, one that carries its own secrets, its own rarity, and a story that might just be even more unbelievable than what you've heard so far. Next, 1951 Wheat Penny to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy, but hidden among the billions of coins produced in the United States, there exists one tiny copper piece that could completely change your life: the 1951 Wheat Penny. At first glance, it looks like just another ordinary penny, the kind you might drop on the ground without a second thought. But what if I told you that one rare version of this exact coin has been rumored to reach an astonishing value of up to $51 million? Yes, you heard that right. $51 million for a single penny. And the most shocking part is that it could still be out there, quietly sitting in someone's jar, drawer, or even your own wallet right now. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end, because the next coins we're going to uncover after this are even more mysterious, with secrets that most collectors don't even talk about openly. Now let's dive deep into the fascinating story behind the 1951 Wheat Penny, a coin that carries far more than just face value. It carries history, mystery, and the possibility of unimaginable wealth. Back in 1951, the United States Mint was still producing the iconic wheat penny design, originally introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln. These pennies were struck primarily in Philadelphia, which is why the P mint mark is often implied rather than stamped on the coin itself. Millions upon millions of these pennies were produced, making them seem incredibly common today. But here's where things start to get interesting. Among those millions, a handful of coins were struck under unusual conditions. Conditions that created tiny differences so rare, so subtle, that only the sharpest eyes can detect them. Some of these variations include double dies, off-center strikes, and even transitional metal compositions that weren't supposed to exist that year. Imagine a mint worker accidentally using the wrong planchet, or a die being slightly misaligned during the striking process. These small mistakes are exactly what transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream worth millions. One of the most talked about versions of the 1951 Wheat Penny is believed to feature a dramatic double die error on the obverse, where Lincoln's profile and the lettering appear slightly duplicated when viewed under magnification. To the untrained eye, It might just look like wear or damage, but to a collector, it's a jackpot waiting to be claimed. And then there are rumors. Yes, rumors that have circulated among elite coin collectors for years about a rare experimental strike from 1951 that used an unusual metal blend, possibly during a test run that was never meant to enter public circulation. If such a coin truly exists and is authenticated, it could easily command a price tag in the tens of millions, which is where that jaw-dropping $51 million estimate comes from. Now think about this for a moment. How many times have you handled pennies without even looking at them closely? How many coins have slipped through your fingers, spent on small purchases, or left forgotten in a jar somewhere in your home? The reality is, most people would spend this coin without realizing its fortune, and that's exactly what makes this story so powerful and so haunting. There have been real cases where rare coins were discovered completely by accident. People cleaning out old houses, inheriting collections from relatives, or even finding coins in circulation have stumbled upon pieces worth thousands, sometimes millions. The thrill of that possibility is what keeps collectors searching, examining every detail under bright lights and magnifying glasses, hoping to uncover that one hidden gem. And the 1951 Wheat penny sits right at the center of that dream, because it's just common enough to still be out there, yet rare enough in its special forms to be incredibly valuable. Auction houses have seen similar coins with unique errors fetch staggering amounts. And while an exact $51 million sale might sound almost mythical, the truth is that the right combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand can push values into unimaginable territory. A pristine, uncirculated example with a rare mint error could ignite bidding wars among elite collectors, each one desperate to own a piece of history that no one else has. And here's another layer to the mystery: condition. Even if you somehow come across a 1951 wheat penny, its value can vary dramatically depending on its state. Coins that have been preserved in near-perfect condition, with sharp details and original luster, are exponentially more valuable than worn-out examples. That means the difference between a coin worth a few cents and one worth millions could come down to how carefully it was handled over the decades. Imagine finding one in an old coin album, untouched for years, its surface still gleaming as if it had just left the mint. That's the kind of discovery that changes lives overnight. But don't relax just yet, because as incredible as this coin is, it's only the beginning of what we're uncovering today. There are other coins, equally mysterious and even more shocking, waiting to be revealed, and each one carries its own story of hidden value and unbelievable rarity. So make sure you stay with me, because what's coming next might make this 1951 penny look almost ordinary by comparison. Before we move on, take a moment, seriously, to think about where your coins are right now. That jar in your kitchen, that old wallet, that drawer you never open. Any one of those places could be hiding a fortune. The 1951 Wheat penny is proof that history doesn't always sit in museums. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for the right person to notice it. And if you thought this coin was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable.